Good morning, friends. It's Tuesday morning. July 7th, 2026. Had to think about that for a minute. You have found Coffee on the Porch with Eric. My name is Eric Folkerth. I'm a pastor, musician, writer, activist from Dallas, Texas. And this is my studio, not my porch, but we gather here every Tuesday morning at 9:30 Central for a little conversation, an hour on spirituality, music, politics, and life, whatever you want to talk about. We have a regular crew that usually shows up. It looks like they're coming in the door right now. Friends, welcome. Glad you're here for Coffee on the Porch. Yes. All right, let me get going here. Welcome. Come on in. I didn't do my presets. Eric, you didn't do the last thing. There it is. Preset there. Oh, crap. See, this is what I'm supposed to do before we get on here. Welcome. Hi. This is where you are. You are at Coffee on the Porch, a live stream here on Substack. Hopefully, if you are a subscriber of mine, you got the message to join us. And it does appear that many of our regular folks are coming in the door. Let's say hello to JTK. Well, welcome. I don't know who you are, but that's I'm glad you're here. Welcome to Cat Bird. Welcome Ethan Kilgore. Hey, good to see you, friend. Nancy Bryant from Fort Collins, Colorado. Debbie and Bobby Berger from up in Plano. Tara Lang, good morning. Hope you had a good birthday. Tara, and is Rick with you today? Linda Waring, welcome. Says good morning from Ohio, where she normally joins us. Bobby says, got the bagels and the Coffee on the Porch mug, which I have as well. There is an official Coffee on the Porch mug available to you for a low price. Good morning, my friend Bryn up in Chicago. Welcome to you. I'm always happy to see your name. It makes me very happy. Michael Wesley says, howdy, just south of us. And Debbie also says you got the Coffee on the Porch mugs. Rick Lang says good morning. Shirley Gilmore says hello or hi. Rick is not with Tara. She's at work. Oh, hi, Rick. Rick is in Weatherford yesterday. Oh, good. Wow, you're getting around. Good morning, Carol Ann, who says her Coffee on the Porch mug is also full. Good morning, Janie Henderson, as is my heart, Carol Ann. Carol Ann's having a great month, y'all. You know that. She got married. That's kind of a big deal. And it's been good. I've been happy. I've been made happy by your happiness. Good morning, Kelly Smith. Welcome to see you. Good to see you. Janie Henderson checking in. Well, you're all coming in. Happy that you're here. If you stumbled on us today and felt like you weren't ready, like, oh man, I really wanted a little time to prepare, because, as you see here, people, they get their mugs and they get ready and they're here for this. Well, the reason they do that is they're normal visitors here, but also they get a text reminder. See, they get a text reminder at 9 a.m. to get ready for 9:30. And this is how you get signed up for the text reminders, is you follow that link or you scan that QR code. One of those two options will lead you to a little form. You give us your text number and we'll send you a text reminder 30 minutes before we go live. That's how that works. So, and that's the only thing we'll bother you with all week, we promise. Very rare to send any other text message to that list other than the Hey, join us at 9:30 is all it says. Good morning, Dan Gilliam. Here with you at the southern end of Lake Rayburn because of the text reminder. Excellent, excellent. It works. It does work. I mean, you get the Substack email reminder with the link, no doubt, but this is just an added layer of little gentle nudge. Good morning to Larry Pennington up in Colorado. Good morning to Liz Moen, also at her lake. We have multiple people joining us from lakes all over the place today. That's kind of fun. All right, well, it's a nice crowd. It's a good 4th of July, post-4th of July group. And let's just get going. I feel like I have a lot to say today. Yeah. Let's just get going then. So the way we start here, of course, is with this question. We start with a little time of conversation and checking in and the ritual pouring of the coffee or the tea or the munching of the bagel. All right, so I got my coffee. I'm ready to go. Let's give it a pour. That's a little Onyx coffee for you, as usual. I've been getting it regularly from Whole Foods. The Whole Foods around here has it, but you can get it from them. You can buy it from them. I probably should, so they recognize that I'm still buying. Cheers, friends. Cheers. Take a big sip. Sit back for a minute. Big holiday weekend. A lot going on in the country. Ask yourself, how am I? How is my soul? How am I really? Not just fine, but how am I? Okay? Leave us a little comment. That's the way this works. This is the interlude, the musical interlude. Probably should have used a tuner. How was your week? Did you see some fireworks? Eat some hot dogs? Morning, Susan Williams. Good to see you. How is your soul today? Right, let me put the Taylor back. Still got a lot of good guitar mojo. That guitar does, man. Really does have a lot of good guitar mojo. Let me see what you're saying. I can tell that you're writing a lot already. Let me run it back for a moment. Rick Lang says this: my soul is good. I've been working my regular job and also my side work. Excellent. Larry Pennington says this. Oh, this is interesting, y'all. Larry Pennington says he's engaged in a local political race. We have a strong candidate running against Lauren Boebert. You're in Boebert's district, huh? Man, she's a trip. Well, good luck. Good luck with that. And you go, Larry. All of you up there go. I think that'd be fun to knock her off. Janie Henderson. I could say so many things that I'm not going to say. I'm going to be good. I'm going to be nice. Janie Henderson says this. I worked in the yard for an hour cleaning out overgrowth and trimming. This time and a little sweat was good for my soul. Man, I've been doing a lot of that as well. In fact, I meant to post some pictures of flowers, wildflowers, and gardens. And I just had so many other pictures. I don't have those today. But my point is, I've been doing the same thing. A lot of it last week here at the house, a little bit out at the lake over the weekend. I did a little last night. I got the blowtorch out last night and was blowing down some weeds, man. That's cathartic. Get the little gas propane blowtorch out there and just go at the weeds for a bit. Yeah, it's very satisfying to watch them burn up. So I'm with you. Excuse me, I'm with you, Janie. And my gardens are, I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm finally catching up. I feel like I've been behind for months on on my gardening. Wow. Allergies. Didn't take the Zyrtec last night. Feeling it this morning, y'all. Tara Lang says, my soul is very good because I've been building... Oh, this is interesting. This is good. This is good, Tara. I've been building boundaries with people and focusing on my class Friday that is a 3D printing class at the Brownwood Library. Excellent. That sounds like fun. That sounds like a great thing to do. Bryn says this. Man, Bryn, I'm sorry to hear this. This is heartbreaking. Says, my soul is struggling as my older sister has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So much running through my head. I bet. Man, Bryn, it's just been a rough couple of years, and I'm sorry to hear that. Very sorry to hear that as well. Susan says, good morning. Linda says, besides being fine, I'm still busy downsizing. Start early is my advice, but it is fun to find things you haven't seen in many years and decide they aren't worth keeping any longer. We've talked about this before. Many of us have done the downsizing thing. I hope you stay with it. And I hope you don't re-upsize. When you downsize, I hope you can keep it simple. Susan says she's sad. I'm very sorry to hear that, Susan. Life in your part of the world is challenging, I think, at times. And big prayers. All right. Carol Ann says this. Yesterday, I had an absolute feast with tomatoes from my garden as well as fresh basil. Added minced garlic and fresh pasta. Oh, the look on my face was full of gratitude for God's great bounty in my yard, and my tummy also benefited indeed. That's amazing. That's fantastic. Congratulations on being able to grow tomatoes. You got to give us a secret because they just burn up in our yard. It's either too cold and not enough sun, or then the sun comes out and blah, it's just crazy. So give us a tip, but congratulations. I feel like I can taste it in here. Oh, Bobby Berger said this. On the 4th, we went to Josie Records, bought 62 records. What? At 25 cents each. Oh my God, Bobby, I love it. That's congratulations. Larry says yes to baseball, yes to hot dogs, and yes to fireworks at the Rockies game. Good morning, James, down in Houston. Howdy, and welcome to you. Catbird says this. I am sad to receive news of a cousin in Germany that is nearing the end of life from cancer. I did not have any luck connecting with her on my last 2 visits to Germany. She's estranged from most of her family, so I don't know how much support she has, and that makes me even sadder. I'm very, very Sorry to hear that. Carol Ann says, yard work. Scott Shawn White has a song about pulling weeds, and it parallels pulling bad stuff out of your life. Ooh, I got to find that. I need to find that one. I met him. I don't know, Carol Ann, if you heard me, or I don't even know if I did say this. He was down at Kerrville this year for the first time. He's never been to Kerrville Folk Festival. And bless his heart, he made a special trip down the hill to find me. Really sweet. He was just there for a few hours, I think. And had heard where I was and went. We'd never met in the real world. And so he and I met down at the festival, and he made a special trip to come see me. I was very, very moved by that. Let's throw up a prayer for Catbird's cousin, Karen. Let's do that, shall we? And be thinking about her in Germany and hope she is getting the oh, you were the one that sent him to see me? What? Oh, that's awesome. I didn't realize that. Throw up a prayer for Kat's cousin Karen in this time. Not really sure about my soul, Liz Moen says. Let's fill it up this morning. Let's do that, shall we? Let's do, well, gosh, that's not any pressure. Dan says, I'm with you. I come here to have Eric fill my soul. No pressure there. We do it for each other, y'all. That's why we're here. We're here for each other. It's not about me. All right, friends, thank you for sharing all those things that are going on with your soul. Let me get right into it. I'm going to show you some pictures that I think will feel familiar because of the 4th of July. First off, I think I wore this shirt last week. I was not allowed to I was not allowed to wear the shirt on the actual 4th of July, but it was my mood, honestly. Democracy is dying, but hey, nice fireworks. Look, that doesn't mean I didn't do the fireworks. I did do the fireworks. I did. But, that was the general feeling I had. We had a great time out at the lake. Here we are, a couple of pictures. It was myself, Denise, Maria, you see there, and then our niece, Tabby, who is around Maria's age. They're close to the same age. Tabby's husband, Juan, and their beautiful, beautiful daughter, Mabel. And there we are playing games. And I don't know if you can make out Denise in the back of that picture. She's just sitting there watching and enjoying the scene. It's nice to feel a little grandparentish with our nieces and nephews and grandnieces and nephews. And so it was nice to have them at the lake. We had a classic 4th of July parade. Man, look at that float. That was an actual float that somebody made for the parade. And then this picture on the right are all of our neighbors that are gathered. We had a good crowd. Some years it's just us sitting there right at that spot. That's that tree behind you. That's our property. That's the end of our lake house property. And a lot of people just kind of come out and sit right at this corner. So you're looking out. It's basically the picture on the left is looking out from where the picture on the right the people are. But look at that crew. That's a lot of people. A lot of neighbors came out this year. Maybe, honestly, the most we maybe have ever had that came out to watch the 4th of July parade, including these specific neighbors, our next door neighbors right next to me, and a guy named Rusty Rowe who's lived down the block for I don't even know, 25 years. And lived meaning he has a lake place down the block as well. So it was really great to see neighbors and to have the parade. There was a lot of hanging out in the lake, a lot of swimming, a lot of floating on the floaters. This was the boat parade. There's a boat parade every year, and that's our folks in the water waving at the boats as they go by. Yes, Larry, like you, we had hot dogs, we had hamburgers, and guess what? There were a few fireworks at night. I'm being sarcastic. There were a crap ton of fireworks, an absolute arsenal of fireworks that go off. I think I've talked about this every year. Our boat engine is still broken, so we can't get out in the boat. What we would normally do is, as you can see in this picture here, the you get out in the boat in the middle of the lake, and you can just see all these fireworks all around you, and it's just remarkable. This is Calendar Lake over in East Texas, near Edom, near what I have on my shirt, near Edom. That's why I'm wearing my Edom shirt today, in honor of having just been out there. But lots of fireworks usually, man, just a ton. And I mean, it felt like it was, 4th of July was on a Saturday, as you all know. So I just feels like a crap ton of fireworks this year. It went on for hours. There is no doubt in our minds, people spent thousands of dollars on fireworks. There's unquestionably that is true. Liz Moen says, we have a golf cart parade, no golf course around, but nevertheless. Same for us. We have a golf cart. People have golf carts. It's probably a similar vibe. And most of the entries in this parade are golf carts. But like I said, this year, shockingly, some people really went upscale with it, man. I mean, look at that float. That's a real float. I think that's a golf cart under that, though. See, I think that's a golf cart, Liz, with a float on top. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so all right. Let's see. Where am I going next? World Cup. We had a big game. We had a couple big games. America lost their game yesterday, but Sunday evening we had a World Cup game in Dallas with, it wasn't in Dallas, but everybody in Dallas was really on Mexico's side. It is very clear. All I can tell you is, America may be, American government may be descended from the British, but yeah, there were not many British fans in Dallas on Sunday night. There were a crap ton of Mexico fans. This was the AT&T Plaza downtown. You can't really get a good sense because of the hedge, but that plaza is packed with thousands of people watching on the big screen. And I walked over to Greenville Avenue a little later, and this is Truck Yard. Again, hundreds of people. I didn't stay long. I just snapped this picture and marveled at the specter of it. I mean, again, these games, people are going out to bars and neighborhood big screens, and it's just hundreds and thousands of people. This game wasn't even in Dallas, but you've got all these people going out to see these games over and over and over. So it's really exciting. I know America has been knocked out, but I think we still have some games here. I think. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I don't know enough about it other than to be amazed at all the people that are around and how amazing that's been. So yeah, that was my week. That was my week. All right, I'm having a little bit of a brain fart on a name, so I'm going to skip something else I was going to do, and I'm going to go back to the writing, just here on Substack. This week I've written 3 things on the 4th of July, y'all. 3 essays. The first was the one I talked to you about last week, was the 4th of July, the World Cup and biblical welcoming, and we talked about the graciousness of welcoming the stranger. That was the first thing that I did. And then 4th of July morning, I posted this on Thoughts on America at 2:50. And look, the main thing there was to remind you about the non-Christian nationalist faith of many people in America, that alongside the many secular, if you will, call it that, justice seekers. There have always been people of faith in every great movement, and through abolition, through civil rights, through gay rights. Our church was very involved in the LGBTQ community. Good morning, Patricia. Welcome to you, my friend. And so Thoughts on America at 250 was just a very brief reminder of that along with all the other activists who come from all sorts of perspectives, all along in our history, we have had people of faith who have joined in. So that was what Thoughts on America at 250 were. So those were the first two essays of last week. And then yesterday I published this, White Innocence and American Double-Mindedness. And this is really what I want to... Good morning, Emily Elliott. Welcome. Glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to have somebody from Kansas. I don't think we've had Kansans with us regularly, and if we have, I apologize. Welcome. Grab some coffee. Glad you're here. And same for Patricia. Hope you're good. Patricia is one of our really... She shows up. That's all I can tell you. She is, I swear, this is absolutely true, at far more protests than I am even. And she shows up. That's all I can tell you. She shows up and she stands up for justice. And I'm such an admirer of Patricia. So I wrote that last essay about American double-mindedness, and because my sister posted this picture. This is one of my favorite 4th of July pictures. This is from the bicentennial year. This is actually 1975, not 1976, because my father decided that it would be too busy in 1976 to take a bicentennial trip. So our family took a bicentennial trip in 1975. And that was actually a nice decision, really, because then when it rolled around the next year, I knew what I was seeing. You know, we were Texas kids, but we went to Philadelphia. We saw the Liberty Bell there. There you are. Back in the day, you could actually go sit on the Liberty Bell. Look at that. We went to the White House. There we are out front the White House. Look at that fine. I believe that's a Dodge Charger right behind us. That's pretty fine. Back in the day when you could just drive up, I don't think you can drive there anymore. But there we are in front of the White House. Same clothes as the reflecting pool. But this was my favorite picture in that series of pictures that my sister found. And I know I used to have these pictures. I just can't find them right now. But it's black and white because my father was a big believer that black and white lasted forever. And by the way, he's not wrong. I mean, look at the quality of that. Look how kind of faded that's getting over time and how sharp that still is. I got to admit, you know, he was right about a lot of things that it was annoying that he was right about. But here's the reflecting pool. I am fairly confident it was not green. And I just got very reflective, no pun intended, about the 4th of July when I saw this picture. And I thought back to, I was 13 years old at the time. And I thought back to how innocent, honestly, my understanding of America and life was. As I've said to you many times, my parents really did shelter us from the realities of the time in which we grew up. I was a 6-year-old child in 1968 when MLK was assassinated, Robert Kennedy was assassinated, when the Vietnam War was going on. And, I didn't know any of that stuff. I learned it later in history books. Yes, Liz is noting you can actually see the reflection of the Washington Monument. You can. Imagine that. Don't think you can do that today. Oh my God. But there was a very naive innocence that I had, there's no question, growing up. And I feel like I lost that naive innocence as I grew up, and I think that was a part of my growing up. We moved 2 years after this picture. We moved from Preston Hollow, where we lived, out to far north Dallas to a suburban school district and a larger house. It was part of the white flight that was going on all around America in those years. And so on the one hand is this bucolic picture, and on the other hand, the reality is there was white flight. There was tension over busing, if you remember. This was the big racial issue of the early 1970s. This real anger over busing. In fact, I don't have a picture from Boston in here, but Boston became known for really, really hard and harsh racial riots that happened there. And so in the midst of this bucolic picture, of course, there's a lot of conflict going on in the nation. And I stumbled on a book, and I meant to put the cover up here, and I failed to. I just did not load that slide. But it's a book by Eddie Glaude. And let me find the exact title. Here we are. America, USA, How Race Shadows the Nation's Anniversaries by Eddie Glaude Jr. And it's a pretty sobering book. I decided that would be my companion book for the weekend. So I listened to that while I was doing some of that yard work, Janie. And it's a sobering book. He looks back at all the major remembrances, 100-year remembrance in 1876, 150 years in 1926, 200 years in 1976, and of course this year. And he notes that at every juncture, while there was the ability to celebrate the successes that had happened, there were also minor notes and minor keys that happened as well. For example, in 1876, this is a decade after the Civil War, the nation is still racked with this sectional strife, right? We're literally still coming back together after the Civil War. It's very clear that the celebrations were meant to reunite white America, to reunite North and South. And Frederick Douglass was invited to be a part, he was still alive, was invited to be a part of that celebration. But this brilliant African-American figure was prevented from accessing the dais where he was supposed to be sitting. A Philadelphia cop could not believe that a N-word was being invited to sit on the dais. Then in 1926, of course, this is the height of the KKK in America, and on July 4th of 1926, there were marches by the KKK through Washington. And I should remind us, there were marches by the KKK here in Dallas in the 20s. I've talked before about the large march they took across the Jefferson Bridge, which no one seems to remember. Every time I tell this story, somebody new says, "Oh, I didn't know about that one." Yeah, they marched across the bridge and they had a clavern. They had a festival that went on for a week during the 1920s. The KKK did. So that shadowed the 1926 celebration. And then, of course, during this bucolic picture of my childhood, we are being racked with the racial strife of busing and the fear of integration and the beginning of white flight. So, it's not a bad theory that this goes on in every generation. I think Glaude is right. And so I wasn't really going to write about this, but then I saw this picture, and I know that many of you have seen this picture. Yeah, the State Fair had Klan Day back in those days. That's correct, James, they did. Speaking of Klan Day, there are some people who wanted the 4th of July to be Klan Day. These are members of the so-called Patriot Front. They are an avowed white supremacist organization, and they have a uniform. They mask their faces. They put on glasses. They put on hats because they are ashamed to. They've been doxxed. They've lost jobs if they've been identified previously. But hundreds of them gathered and marched on Washington on July 4th. And this picture of a lone African-American woman sitting in the midst of them, and her expression, I feel like, just kind of says everything. So, I went to Washington, D.C. earlier this year. I think I told you at the time we had 2,000 of us, United Methodist clergy, who went to Washington, D.C. It was a beautiful, beautiful event. We met in 2 churches. One was an African-American United Methodist church. One was a white United Methodist church. They, unshockingly, were right around the corner from each other, separate but equal for generations to the present day. But it allowed us, that sort of racism allowed us 2 spaces to gather 2,000 people and then march on the Capitol. But, when I overcame my own sense of white naivete, I eventually I was arrested at the White House. I remember telling you that back in 2014. So this February, when I went to D.C., I decided to go back to the White House. I decided to go back here and to just see the place where I'd been arrested, to go to Lafayette Park and to walk up to the gate. This was my idea. And to see the place that I'd been arrested in 2024. And I had all these different thoughts of the past in my head. My father lived in D.C. on 3rd Street for a while. I was remembering that. I was remembering this trip in this picture when I was a child. And I was remembering, of course, being arrested in 2014. And so all these different layers of American experience. I went back to the scene of the crime. Yes, ma'am. Well, I tried to. Here's my point. And I walked over there, and it was just completely obliterated and torn up, y'all. Lafayette Park was under construction. All the grass was ripped up. The monuments were laying sideways on the ground. Big holes of dirt. Big chain link fence all the way around it. Not just around Lafayette Park, but around the adjacent buildings. The east wing, of course, had been knocked down, obliterated. There were piles of rubble over there. There were portable buildings everywhere because I guess it hadn't dawned on them, people who office in the east wing, I guess you have to put them somewhere. So there were portable buildings everywhere, and it literally looked like a bomb had gone off. It looked like a war scene outside the White House. And I thought, well, there's the perfect metaphor right there. Everything's just torn to shit. And now, of course, we have the America 250 celebration with the algae in the reflecting pool. This beautiful scene doesn't exist anymore, not just because it's 50 years ago, but because literally literally there's algae in the reflecting pool, and it's so embarrassing that they've walled it off. I did hear one wonderful commentator noting that they had a weather delay where they urged everyone to go and take shelter, and you had many of these MAGA dressed white people who took shelter in the lobby of the African American Museum, the Smithsonian. And I thought, well, there's a metaphor for you right there. Bryn, I don't know why your phone is telling you to report this live video. I don't know. I'm very concerned by that. Don't know why somebody would tell you to report this live video, other than maybe there's somebody who doesn't like what I'm saying here. I don't know. But anyway, oh, maybe because I used a curse word. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why, because I just used a curse word, perhaps. No, I didn't use that. I used the S word. Yeah. That's probably it. Anyway, so this leads me to this last essay that is basically reminding us that there is a naive innocence to the way that many people understand the 4th of July. And it does feel like there is a revisionism going on in America today, a revisionism that takes us back to a kind of bucolic, innocent whiteness in America. But alongside of this, of course, is the ugly side of whiteness in America. Theologians Brian McLaren and Nadia Bowles-Weber some years ago talked about the myth of white innocence in our theology. Well, don't do that. Don't report me. I don't think I've done anything bad other than use that one word, which I guess I won't use again. We talk about Jesus here. That's what we're doing. We're talking about Jesus. There's a kind of a white innocence that is being portrayed, I think, throughout our history. And the underbelly of that, of course, is white supremacy. And these things are, the white naivete and white innocence is connected to white supremacy. The failure to admit the flaws of our past. And, in my view, it's not a problem to admit the flaws of the past. There's no reason not to admit the flaws of the past. Admit to and name the fact that we have not been perfect. Yeah, as Kat is saying, the country was built on the backs of people of color. 100% that's true. Let's just admit that. But in every age, Glaude points out, about every 50 years, there seems to be this pulling back, this counter-reaction to what appears to be, or what we believe to be, progress. And this one now is very, very grim, this time that we are in right now, because the leader of the free world, the so-called free world, is leading all of this. And that makes it more dangerous. A more dangerous time. So there is a way to talk about American history that names the flaws and says, you know what? Yeah, this is who we are. This is who we are as people. And this is who we've always been. And to just name that. The Constitution itself says in its preamble that we, the people, are coming together to form a more perfect union. Not a perfect union, but a more perfect union. And it seems to me that the jingoistic 4th of July celebrators want to insist that America is perfect and has always been perfect, which of course is not true. No nation is perfect. But it does feel that that's a part of and that the perfection is somehow tied to whiteness, at least in their minds. And so that feels right on, I think, in terms of an analysis. So this was a very good book to read. I commend it to you. It's not an easy read, but it's an honest read, which is what I'm always going for. But like I said, it seems to me there is an analogous move in faith and in religion, and that is to believe that Jesus, because Jesus forgives us, we are pure and innocent, and we are pure and innocent of anything that has happened before. There's no need to talk about the past. There's no need to talk about my family or my privilege or however you want to say that. But everyone is equally blessed in the sight of God, which is true. But therefore, let's don't talk about the imperfections. Let's just focus on this claim that we are perfect in God. And it's very Calvinist, in my opinion. This is what comes to us from Calvinism, I think. And I'll just say that, our founder, John Wesley, in our United Methodist tradition, believed we were moving toward perfection. We are going on from where we are now toward perfection, and that our whole life is about becoming more perfect. Yeah, we should focus on the positive things that happen, but we should never claim that we are innocent or perfect. That feels existentially right to me, and so that there's a kind of, the whitewashing that's going on in Texas, for example, whitewashing the curriculum. So I commend this to you if you are interested in this, white innocence and the double-mindedness of America. This was just this is kind of my sermon on Sunday, and but along these lines, what do we do then? Well, we remind ourselves of what we always remind ourselves, that nationalism will always seek to use the same language that faith does, and nationalism will seek to combine these. This is a graphic by Mark Ram, and he's talking about the Gospel of Mark. His name is Mark, the guy who made this graphic, but he's talking about the Gospel of Mark compared to the language of the Caesars and Rome. The Caesar called himself Lord. Jesus, the Gospel of Mark, is called Lord. The Caesar is called the Son of God. The Gospels, Jesus is called the Son of God. Caesar is known as the Savior of the world. The Gospels say that Jesus is the Savior of the world. And the language of Caesar announces the birth of a Caesar, a new Caesar, as the good news for the world, as does the Gospels. So every title, I know, this is such a great comparison. I think Mark Ram has done such a helpful job, and it helps us get to the heart of the nationalism, of the claim that that there was Roman nationalism. I mean, Christianity became there was a Christian nationalist government in late Rome. There was a Christian nationalist government all throughout European history, and there is the desire among some to create a Christian nationalist government in the United States. Some would say they're being very effective at doing that just now, but the early Christians pushed back on this and said, no, Jesus is Lord and Caesar is not. Jesus is Lord and Caesar is not. So I do think this points to the way out of where we are. It is a time for Christians and people of faith to stand up and resist the usurpation of our language and our myth and our stories in the service of the flag. We have to say no to that. We have to pull that back, and we have to remind ourselves that the world of the Spirit is different than the world of politics, or it should be. And that doesn't mean we don't get involved in social issues, and it doesn't mean we don't have social views. We do. And it doesn't mean we don't talk about political things. We do that too. But the Democratic Party isn't perfect. The Republican Party is definitely not perfect. There are no perfect parties. There is no perfect nation. We are here civilly to create a more perfect union. We are here spiritually to become more perfect in God. Those are two different things, but they're both admitting to the same process. The process of moving toward perfection, not claiming ultimate perfection. And so I think that the way that many celebrate the 4th of July is tragically looking back at our history and claiming a kind of perfection that just never existed, really. We have always been a flawed nation, and we do better, I think, when we admit to that. And we do better when we make a commitment to include everybody. That's my sense. I trust that's many of y'all's senses too. So one song for the day, one final patriotic song, and we'll move on from the 4th of July next week. This is a song. This is the song that I believe should be our national anthem, America the Beautiful. Let me see your thoughts. Somebody is writing something here, which I didn't. Bobby Berger says, hope is another way of growing toward perfection. Of course it is. Absolutely. Thank you, Bobby. By the way, I will likely not be there on Thursday, you guys. I have 3 doctor's appointments on Thursday. Seemed like a good idea to stack them up. Several people wrote that Brandi Carlile's version of the national anthem, I think, was at the Super Bowl, really inspired them. They fell in love with the song again. I kind of feel like this should be our national anthem. My favorite version is Ray Charles. But the story of this song is worth reminding yourself of. That in 1893, Catherine Lee Bates, teacher in Boston, went on a trip across the country in summertime. It was summer break, and she was accompanied by teacher friends, including her likely lover, whose name was also Catherine. That's right. Brandi Carlile wasn't the first queer person to have a connection to this song. The writer likely did. Catherine Lee Bates and her lover Catherine and their teacher friends, they went on a vast journey across America by train, I believe. They saw the spacious skies, they saw the amber waves of grain in Kansas, the fruited plain. And then they ended up in Colorado at Pikes Peak. Traveled all the way up to the top of Pikes Peak. Catherine Lee Bates was so moved by the moment that she told her friends to just leave her there for a bit. Just go on back down. I'll meet you back down in a while. And she sat there and she started to write these words, "Oh, beautiful for spacious skies." She finished it later and it became the song you know today. What I love about this song are the choruses, including the second chorus, which I think is the better of all of them. It's not one we sing most of the time. America, America, God mend thine every flaw. Confirm thy soul with self-control, thy liberty in law. America, America, God mend thine every flaw. Confirm thy soul in self-control? What? Liberty and law? We're a long way from that. But it's a prayer for us about how we're always growing and changing in every generation. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for pilgrims' feet whose stern, impassioned stress a thoroughfare for freedom beat across the wilderness. America, America, God mend thine every flaw. Confirm thy soul in self-control, thy liberty in law. Oh, beautiful for patriots' dreams that sees beyond the years. Thine alabaster cities still gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed her grace on thee and crown thy good with sisterhood from sea to shining sea. America the Beautiful, written by Catherine Lee Bates way back in 1893. I think that should be our national anthem, in my opinion. They didn't ask me, of course. All right, let's see what you're saying here. What a great cover. Very thoughtful. Thank you so much. Yeah, I have been playing that cover. I fell in love with that song after September 11th. And I started playing it at almost every show for many years as a antidote to, frankly, to God Bless America. If you remember, after September 11th, we decided we were going to sing God Bless America after, well, frankly, at every baseball. We're still doing it at every baseball game and all sorts. That started after September 11th. There was this jingoistic, America is blessed and we can do no wrong, which of course is a foolish thing to say. It's what leads you into a war like Iraq and Afghanistan. It's what, that kind of jingoism is what leads to that. That is also naive white innocence. So I started doing a cover of that song back then, and hadn't played it in a long time, and just whipped it out tonight. Thank you for that. Is there a source for the Edom t-shirt? Yeah, let me... there is a... yes, there is. The answer is there is, and I can't remember... I can't remember the name of it. It's a place right in Edom. Dang. It's on the west side of the road that goes through 279, goes through Edom. Isn't that right? Yeah, there's a little shop there run by a couple of guys who moved out from Dallas, by the way. I'm sorry I don't remember the name of their shop. But the answer is yes. You go in their shop. There are only a few shops there. Just walk around Edom. Enjoy it. And you'll find it in the shop there in Edom. Bobby says this. My favorite song is This Land Is Your Land. It's about the people. That's right. Yeah, take a screenshot of that. Take a picture of that. And... they will know where to get this from. They will know the name of this shop that I cannot think of. It's across the street from the knife shop and the pottery shop. So it's on that other side. That's all I can tell you. It's near next to the log cabin restaurant there. Anyway, all right. Well, just the one song today, friends. America the Beautiful, Catherine Lee Bates. Yeah, Bobby's saying his favorite song is This Land Is Your Land. Woody wrote that song for much the same reason that I like America the Beautiful. Yeah. So it was a similar thing. I think maybe, I don't know. I like America the Beautiful because it talks about the land and the people. And it does talk about God's blessing, but it's contingent. America, America, God mend thine every flaw. Confirm thy soul through self-control, liberty, and law. It's admitting that we're moving toward a perfection, that we're not perfect. That's what I like about that. All right, friends, we're winding down. We're about to say goodbye. I want to say goodbye to you for the week. A reminder again that if you like jumping in on this, then please sign up for the text messages. You can get the weekly text message just before we go on. Scan the QR code, copy down the URL there, take a screenshot of the URL and type it in later. And we only send you the one message a week, but it's a 9 o'clock reminder for the 9:30 start. That way you can get yourself in order. A reminder to you that, of course, I have my music out. I had somebody this week told me that they have saved my music to their regular streaming service and have really enjoyed it, and that, of course, makes me feel great. So check out the music. 2 records in the last 2 years. Very excited about that. Bryn says, thank you for a lovely morning. You have a great week too, Bryn. Great to see you all. Great to see everybody. I hope you had a good 4th. I hope we, keep your chin up. The one thing, I will say one more thing I didn't even get into, but Trump's speech, oh my God. He's talking about communists, y'all. It's like he thinks this is 1955 or something. It's unbelievable. But he talked about all Democrats as being enemies of America. You've heard me talk many times about the divisive rhetoric of enemy making. Watch out. That's all I can tell you is watch out. Because I think there's more harsh grimness on the way. More attempt to otherize anyone who dares stand against he and Republican rule for 100 years is what he said. That's literally the language of empire. So watch out. The next few months are likely to be grim. The midterms are likely to be deeply important. There's a reason they're coming to Dallas for a mid convention, because he's terrified, and the Republicans here are terrified of James Tallarico and Gina Hinojosa. I assure you that's why they're coming here. So it's going to be a challenging few months. There's going to be a lot going on. Breathe deeply. Let's come back here every week and check in, and we'll keep going to the best we can. Till next time, friends, breathe in, breathe out. Take your time out with a good cup for a while, and we'll see you next time on Coffee on the Porch. Bye-bye.